Now, we'll try to solve this problem using manual calculations, and then after which, we can apply this alternative formula. Now, personally, if I have problems involving the radius of curvature, I always use this one. Kasi na-memorize ko na kasi to. Now, if you can memorize this formula, just use this process. And then, yung concept lang is, we need y in terms of x. And then, these are treated as constants. Yung tan theta, saka 2v squared cos squared theta, and then yung g din. And then, solve dy dx by differentiating this function with respect to x. So, all terms not containing x becomes a constant. So, that's why in our second derivative, tan theta becomes 0. Kasi wala na siyang kapares na x. So, solve muna natin using the conventional method. So, we have a stone thrown with an initial velocity of 100 fps with the horizontal. So, let's just assume that this is thrown at a high elevation. So, therefore, this is the path. Parang ganyan. And then the velocity is tangent to this point. So we have the initial velocity as 100 fps or feet per second. Yan. And then we have to compute the radius of curvature at the point where it is 50 feet horizontally from its initial position. So sabihin natin na this is, let's say, x, which is 50 feet. Yan. So projecting a line from here, we have this point. And then we have this component of velocity. And then our acceleration is, we don't have an acceleration along x, only along y, and then it's acting downward. So downward, and then this is the acceleration, which is just equal to the gravitational constant. Now, since we are using English units, then this is 32.2 feet per second squared. Yan. And then, this angle is essentially 0 degrees. Zero degrees from the horizontal, initially. So, ito na yung gamitin natin na concept. Yung component ng velocity is along the tangential component of acceleration. And then we also have a normal component of acceleration. And then we're gonna use, saan na yun? We're gonna use this formula. An equals v squared over the radius of curvature. Yan. So I have here, to solve velocity at this point, sabihin natin this is Vf. Now we can solve the final velocity along y and also along x. So we can use this formula. Now for Vx, we're gonna use cosine 0. So Vx equals 100 cosine 0. Now what is cosine 0? Diba? That's equal to 1. Which means that Vx is 100. Which is, diba, realistic naman kasi initially, the stone was thrown horizontally. So that's why it will retain this initial velocity. Now, what is Vy? We have 100 sine 0, which, diba, gives us 0 then. 100 sine 0. Yan. Naka-0 yan. Now, let's say that we have Vfx and Vfy. Now, Vfx will not change. It will still be 100 at any point along the path. But Vfy will change kasi diba, we have a downward acceleration. Now, how can we compute Vfy? Diba, Vfy is Vi plus minus AT. So, we have Vfy is 0 and then plus or minus 32.2, for which we are going to use minus kasi this is a downward acceleration. And then what is T? T will become, by the way pala, you can also treat this as positive because gravity already helps the stone move downward. So, pwede rin plus. And then, what is T? We can solve T using this formula. X equals Vx times T. So, X equals, what is Vx? We have 100. So, we have a distance of 50 equals 100 multiplied by T. So, T is 50 over 100. This gives us 0.5. So, T equals 0.5. Yan. And then, we can now solve Vfy. This becomes 32.2 times 0.5. So, we have 16.1. This is FPS. The same lang din dito. Ano na lang, minus kasi yung ginamit natin dito. Let's just also use minus here. So, minus 16.1. You may also use this formula. Sana yun? Y equals, wait lang. Theta, this is, di pala kaya. Ito kasi yung initial velocity. But we may also use, wag na lang. Ito na lang. Ito yung pinaka-efficient. So, now that we have Vfy, we also have Vfx. We can now get the acceleration. So again, dito, yung ginawa is, di ko kasi na-explain kanina, nasa faculty office kasi ako. Ito yung components ng acceleration. We have a tangential component and a normal component. And then, this angle is solvable. Yung inclination ng velocity. Yan. Yang angle theta. Now, if this is angle theta, then yung normal component ng acceleration is perpendicular to the tangential acceleration. So, if this is perpendicular, then the sum of these angles must be 90. This is also perpendicular. Yung horizontal line, itong horizontal line saka itong naka-green, that's also perpendicular. And so we want to solve angle beta. And then essentially we are considering this triangle. Yan. Yan yung nandito. Itong triangle na to. Now, if this is the component of velocity, then this is now my component of acceleration. This is downward, so ito na yung anong tawag dito? 80 tangential acceleration, and then right, and then rotated axis. So this is now my dito na lang, this is perpendicular, yung dalawang lines, and then this is AV. AN. Yan. Now, this angle is solvable. If I will draw a horizontal line, I can solve this angle. Now, what is this angle? That angle will be tangent of theta, and then sabihin natin na this is VFX and this is VFY. So the opposite side is VFY, and then the adjacent side is VFX. Again, this is the component of the velocity, final velocity. Now, what is VFY? We have VFY equal to minus 16.1. And then VFX is 100. So what is now tan theta? We have minus 9.146, or you can just use the absolute value, and then that will be with respect to the horizontal. Now, what this means is, the negative here, it means that we have a counterclockwise direction. So this is 9.146. Yan. Now, isustor ko na lang to sa gamitin ko na lang yung positive. I will just store this at A. Yan. Now, since I have this angle, then I hope you would agree that using this angle, we can solve this angle too. Now, this angle will be, since this is also perpendicular, yung angle na yan, then this must be, let's say, alpha, yung naka-purple, in which alpha is 90 minus theta. Yan. Now, this is also perpendicular, yung 80 saka AN. And so, if this is alpha, yung angle na yan, alpha, then this must be theta. Kasi diba, theta plus alpha, this is 90 degrees. Kasi this is perpendicular then. Therefore, since we have A, we can now calculate AN. Again, A is 32.2 feet per second squared. Yan. Now we can consider this triangle. Let's draw a line perpendicular to AN. We have this. Yan. And then let's consider this triangle. Yang triangle na yan. So we have theta. Now using the cosine relationship, I can get AN. So cosine theta, this one, this is equal to the adjacent side, which is AN, divided by the hypotenuse. Now the hypotenuse is 32.2. Yan. So now we have cos theta is 9.146 equals AN divided by 32.2. Yan. So solving AN, we have 31.791. And this is meter per second squared. Yan. Now, using AN equals V squared over R, we can now solve R, or the radius of curvature. Now sir, how did we get V? Yung V nakuha using VFX and VFY. So, V is actually square root of VFX squared plus VFY squared. So, bale, this is 100 squared and then plus negative 16.1 squared. Yan. So, we have here 101.288. Yan. So, we have to substitute this for V and then we can solve R. So, solving R, we got a value of 322.712. Yan. Now, check muna natin using the alternative. This one. Copy ko na lang. Kasi, the same lang naman yung derivations. So, define natin yung values. What is x? X is 50. Theta is 0. G is negative 32.2. And then VI is 100. Yan. So, now I have dy dx, which is tan theta minus gx over v squared cos squared theta. So here, we're gonna input tan theta, so tan 0, and then minus g, which is 32.2, times x, which is 50, over vi squared. Again, this is vi, this is also vi. Not to be confused with v. So, 32.2 times 50 over 100 squared cos 0 squared. Yan. So this is minus 0.161. And then solving the second derivative, we have minus 32.2 over 100 squared and then cos 0 squared. We got minus 0.00322. Yan. And so using this formula, we have 1 plus negative 0.161 squared to the 3/2, divide natin by this expression, which is minus 0.0322. But again, this has to be the absolute value. So just remove the negative sign. So we have 1 plus minus 0.161 squared. By the way, you have to treat this as absolute kasi di ba wala namang radius of curvature na negative. Distance kasi yan. To the power of 3/2 divided by minus 0.00322. This gives us minus 322. But again, just use the positive value, we have 322.71. So the same lang yung dalawang approaches, but the shortcut formula, if you're able to memorize it, it's better.